The breaking point. Captain Ilara Reese stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, her gaze fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching Concordiate fleet. 27 warships, all larger than anything humanity had built, all armed with weapons Earth's scientists had only theorized about until first contact 3 years ago. The quiet hum of the bridge couldn't mask the tension hanging in the air. "They've ignored our final hail," Captain Lieutenant Kwan reported, his voice steady despite the circumstances. No response on any diplomatic channels. Ilara nodded, unsurprised. The Concordiate had never been interested in genuine dialogue. From the moment their massive ships had appeared at the edge of Sol system, they'd made their intentions clear. Humans were to submit to their authority or face extinction. Species 127 in their expanding empire. Admiral Chen is on secure Channel 1. Communications Officer Rivera announced. The weathered face of Admiral Helena Chen appeared on the main screen. Despite being humanity's highest-ranking military officer, her expression betrayed exhaustion rather than confidence. "Captain Reese, the Security Council has authorized Protocol Omega. This is not a decision we've made lightly." Ilara felt her heart sink. Protocol Omega, humanity's last resort. For 3 years, Earth had maintained the facade of technological inferiority, absorbing losses, retreating from colonies, all while hiding their true capabilities. "Admiral, are we certain? Once initiated, New Eden fell yesterday, Captain." Chen's voice cracked slightly. 12 million civilians. They didn't even attempt to accept surrender. The colony was glass by the time our scouts arrived. The bridge fell silent. New Eden had been humanity's largest extrasolar settlement, a thriving world of scientists, farmers, artists. Ilara had visited twice, remembered the sunset over the western mountains, the children playing in the capital's central plaza. "Understood, Admiral. The Defiant stands ready. One more thing, Captain." Chen leaned closer to the camera. "High Command has authorized me to tell you what you're actually commanding." The Admiral transmitted a classified file, and as Ilara opened it on her personal terminal, her eyes widened. The UES Defiant wasn't simply an outdated cruiser as the Concordiate believed. The ship's specifications displayed capabilities beyond anything publicly acknowledged by Earth's military. This isn't possible," she whispered. "It's not just the Defiant," Chen continued. "Every vessel in the 3rd and 5th Fleets carries similar systems. We've been hiding our true strength since first contact, hoping diplomacy would prevail. And now we show them what humanity is truly capable of." Chen's expression hardened. "Transmit the final warning as instructed. Then you have authorization to engage with all available measures. Godspeed, Captain." As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to her communications officer. "Lieutenant Rivera, broadcast the prepared message on all frequencies, all languages we've decoded from the Concordiate." Rivera nodded grimly, fingers dancing across his console. Moments later, the message that would change galactic history forever began to transmit. "Attention Concordiate forces. For 3 years, we have attempted peace. For 3 years, we have shown restraint despite your aggression. For 3 years, we have held back, hoping you would recognize our desire for peaceful coexistence. That time is over. Our patience is exhausted. This is not a request for negotiation. This is your only warning. Withdraw from human space immediately, or witness what happens when humanity stops holding back." The bridge crew watched as the message repeated, translated into 17 Concordiate dialects. When it finished, there was only silence. Then, predictably, the Concordiate responded, not with words, but with action. Their lead warship fired an energy weapon at the Defiant, a blast that by all appearances should have vaporized the human vessel instantly. Instead, the energy dissipated against an invisible barrier 30 kilometers from the ship's hull. "Shield integrity at 98%, reported Tactical Officer Lang, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. Their scanners are increasing intensity. They're trying to figure out what just happened. Ilara took a deep breath. The moment humanity had feared and prepared for had arrived. Active all Phase 2 systems. Disengage camouflage protocols. Bring primary weapons online. Around the Defiant, space itself seemed to ripple as dozens of previously invisible human ships materialized. Not the small primitive vessels the Concordiat had cataloged in their intelligence reports, but advanced warships with sleek, predatory lines. Black absorbent hulls that had hidden their heat signatures and energy outputs for years. The Concordiat fleet's orderly formation faltered as their sensors suddenly registered the true human fleet. Confusion evident in their movements, several vessels began to retreat while others frantically adjusted their weapon systems. They're splitting formation, Liang announced. Intercepting communications. They're calling for reinforcements. Ilara stood from her command chair. They won't arrive in time. Lieutenant Quan, target their flagship. Precision strike only, engines and weapons. Let's show them exactly what they've provoked. The UEA's Defiant's hull separated slightly along previously invisible seams, revealing energy weapon emplacements unlike anything the Concordiat had witnessed from humans before. A focused beam of blue-white energy lanced out, cutting through the void to strike the Concordiat flagship with surgical precision. The massive alien vessel shuddered, its propulsion systems failing as secondary explosions cascaded across its hull. Its weapons went dark, but the ship remained largely intact, exactly as Ilara had ordered. Open a channel to their flagship, she commanded. When Rivera nodded, indicating the connection was live, Ilara spoke with deliberate calm. Concordiat command, you have witnessed only a fraction of our capabilities. We did not want this war. You forced it upon us. Withdraw now, and we will allow your retreat. Stay, and we will show you what humanity is truly capable of when threatened. On the main display, the remaining Concordiat ships hesitated, caught between programming that demanded conquest and the sudden realization that they faced not the primitive species they had expected, but something far more dangerous, a species that had hidden its true nature while absorbing losses, learning the enemy's tactics, and preparing for this very moment. 3 Concordiat vessels abruptly accelerated, weapons charging as they launched themselves toward the human fleet. Ilara's expression didn't change. They've made their choice. All vessels, execute Phoenix Protocol. Throughout the human fleet, advanced weapon systems activated simultaneously. Not the brute force weapons the Concordiat might have expected, but precision instruments designed after years of studying alien technology and biology. Targeted electromagnetic pulses disabled neural interfaces aboard the alien ships. Engineered viruses penetrated their environmental systems, not to kill, but to incapacitate. Quantum disruption fields rendered their faster-than-light communications useless. The 3 attacking vessels drifted powerless within minutes, their crews alive but helpless. Receive transmission from the secondary Concordiat command ship, Rivera reported, surprise evident in his voice. They're requesting terms. Ilara exchanged glances with her officers. This wasn't a victory. It was merely the opening move in a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. The Concordiat controlled thousands of worlds, and humanity had just declared itself their enemy. Put them through, she ordered, and inform Admiral Chen that Phase 1 is complete. As she prepared to address the Concordiat commander, Ilara thought about New Eden, about the millions of human lives extinguished because an alien empire had mistaken restraint for weakness, patience for fear. The galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson about humanity, one that would be remembered for generations. The alien commander appeared on screen, its 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what humans had learned was a sign of extreme stress. Before it could speak, Ilara delivered humanity's terms. You will withdraw all forces from human territory immediately. You will acknowledge humanity's sovereign rights to all currently claimed systems. You will provide reparations for New Eden and all previous attacks. These are not negotiable points. You have 6 hours to comply before we continue our demonstration. The alien commander's translator processed her words, and its posture shifted, not in defiance, but in growing comprehension of the situation's gravity. "You concealed your true capabilities," it said finally. "Why?" Ilara looked directly into the alien's eyes. "Because we hoped we wouldn't need them. You should have taken that as a gift, not a weakness." As the transmission ended, Ilara gazed out at the stars beyond the viewport. The Concordiat wouldn't retreat for long. This was just the beginning, and humanity would need every hidden weapon, every secret technology they had developed in anticipation of this day. "Captain," Quan said quietly from his station, "long-range sensors are detecting multiple Concordiat battle groups altering course, heading toward human space." Ilara nodded. "As expected, they won't accept this defeat easily." She opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "All vessels, prepare for Phase 2. The real war begins now." Reckoning. Dr. Marcus Chen watched the holographic battle projections with analytical detachment in the subterranean command center beneath Geneva. 3 weeks into what the media had dubbed the Awakening War, and already the galaxy's power structure was shifting dramatically. "The Concordiat's 7th battle group has been neutralized in the Procyon system," reported General Santos, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of tactical displays. "Minimal casualties on both sides. Our containment protocols performed beyond expectations." Marcus nodded, satisfied yet troubled. The weapon systems he had spent 15 years developing weren't designed to slaughter. They were created to incapacitate, to deny, to control. Humankind had learned from its own bloody history that victory through annihilation was no victory at all. "And the prisoners?" he asked. "Processing according to the Geneva interspecies protocols," Santos confirmed. "Medical teams are adapting treatment for the various Concordiat species. Most are recovering well from the neural disruption." The massive doors to the command center slid open as Admiral Helena Chen entered, flanked by diplomatic aides. Despite weeks of minimal sleep, she carried herself with the same iron determination that had guided Earth's military strategy since first contact. "The Concordiat Central Authority has requested direct negotiations," she announced without preamble. "Not through intermediaries this time. Their Supreme Commander wishes to speak with our leadership personally." Murmurs spread through the command center. The Concordiat, an empire spanning nearly a third of the galaxy, had never deigned to negotiate directly with any species they classified as emergent. "They're scared," Marcus observed quietly. Helena nodded. "As they should be. The Kashri hegemony and Tlaxian alliance have both withdrawn from their mutual defense pacts with the Concordiat. They're watching what's happening and reassessing everything they thought they knew about humans." The main display shifted to show the current state of the conflict. Green indicators representing human forces pushed steadily outward from Earth, not in conquest, but in methodical defense. Red Concordiat forces retreated or were contained in temporary quantum stasis fields, another of Marcus's inventions that allowed for bloodless victories. "What changed?" General Santos asked. 3 weeks ago, they were willing to glass New Eden without hesitation. Now they want to talk. Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes reflected grim satisfaction. Captain Reese happened. The display changed again, showing footage from the UES, Defiant's recent engagement at Proxima Centauri. The Concordiat had sent their elite Vanquisher fleet, 30 capital ships with planet-killing capabilities, to reclaim the system and punish humanity for its defiance. They had encountered Captain Ilara Reese and the Fifth Fleet. The footage showed the Defiant seemingly outmatched, surrounded by Concordiat warships 10 times its size. Then, just as the alien vessels prepared to fire their main weapons, the Defiant activated its dimensional anchor system. Space itself seemed to fold around the Concordiat ships, not through explosive force, but through precisely calculated gravitational manipulation. Their faster-than-light drives were suddenly useless. Their weapons, calibrated for conventional spacetime, fired with only a fraction of their intended power. and then the rest of the Fifth Fleet decloaked, not to destroy the trapped Concordiate vessels, but to systematically disable them with surgical precision. Within hours, the most feared battle group in the Concordiate Navy had been neutralized without a single ship destroyed. The footage has spread throughout Concordiate space, Helena explained. Their citizens are asking questions their leaders can't answer. How did humans develop technology that surpasses their own? Why are we taking prisoners instead of exterminating them as they would have done to us? It challenges everything they've been taught about lesser species. Marcus turned from the display, troubled despite their success. We never wanted this war. No, Helena agreed, but we prepared for it, because somewhere deep in our collective memory, we remembered what happens when technological civilizations meet unprepared. In the executive conference room above the command center, Ambassador Vextil of the Concordiate shifted uncomfortably in the specially designed chair. Accustomed to representing the dominant power in any negotiation, the four-armed diplomat now found himself in the unfamiliar position of supplicant. Across the polished table sat President Eleanor Mbeki, flanked by Admiral Chen and Dr. Marcus Chen. Their expressions revealed nothing as they waited for the translator to process Vextil's opening statement. The Concordiate acknowledges the misjudgment regarding human technological advancement. The alien diplomat began carefully. We propose an immediate cessation of hostilities and recognition of pre-conflict boundaries. President Mbeki's expression remained impassive. Ambassador Vextil, your forces attacked unprovoked. You destroyed New Eden and 12 million civilians. You categorized humans as an expendable species. And now that you've discovered we aren't as defenseless as you assumed, you wish to return to the status quo. The translator conveyed her words, and Vextil's upper limbs twitched in discomfort. The Supreme Concordiate regrets the misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Admiral Chen interrupted, her voice like steel. You didn't misunderstand anything, Ambassador. Your empire encountered what you believed was a technologically inferior species and followed your standard protocol. Demand submission or enact extermination. The only misunderstanding was yours, in failing to recognize that humanity's restraint was a choice, not a limitation. Marcus watched the alien diplomat carefully, noting the physiological signs of stress their xenobiologists had documented. The Concordiate's hierarchical society had no framework for processing defeat at the hands of what they had classified as a Category 3 civilization. If I may, Marcus interjected softly. Ambassador, I designed many of the technologies you've encountered in this conflict. None were created with the intent of conquest. All were developed for one purpose: to ensure humanity's survival in a galaxy where technological superiority is equated with the right to dominate. He leaned forward. We could have struck first when we discovered your intentions. We chose not to. Even now, after what happened at New Eden, we choose not to respond in kind. That choice defines us more than our technology ever could. The ambassador's translator processed these words, and for the first time, Vextil's posture showed something beyond diplomatic caution, something approaching understanding. The Concordiate has existed for 12,000 of your years, the alien said finally. In that time, 146 species have been integrated into our empire. Never have we encountered one that concealed its true nature so effectively, or showed restraint once revealing its power. President Mbeki nodded. Then perhaps it's time for the Concordiate to reconsider its approach to integration. Humanity will not join your empire, Ambassador, but we are willing to coexist peacefully with any civilization that extends the same courtesy. As the negotiations continued, Marcus slipped out quietly, making his way to the observation deck overlooking Lake Geneva. The night sky above was clear, stars visible despite the city lights. Somewhere out there, human ships were still engaged in contained conflicts, using his technologies to bring an empire to the negotiating table without wholesale slaughter. Troubled, Doctor. Admiral Chen's voice came from behind him. Marcus didn't turn. We revealed technologies we swore would remain hidden. There's no going back from that. No, she agreed, moving to stand beside him. But perhaps that was inevitable. The universe isn't kind to species that remain ignorant of their neighbors, or those who fail to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. And what happens now? He asked. We've shown what humanity is capable of. Other powers beyond the Concordiat will take notice. Helena's gaze remained fixed on the stars above. Now we reveal our greatest strength, the one the Concordiat still doesn't understand. Which is? Our capacity to forge peace after war, to offer genuine cooperation instead of dominance. She turned to face him. Captain Reese sent a message from the front lines. The commander of the Vanquisher fleet has requested asylum. Apparently, after witnessing how we treated our prisoners, he's concluded that human ethics are evolutionarily superior to the Concordiat's approach. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Perhaps there's hope for interspecies relations after all. There's always hope, Doctor. That's another human trait the galaxy is about to discover. Above them, a shooting star traced a brilliant path across the night sky. Not a natural meteor, but a human vessel returning from the front lines, bearing news of yet another bloodless victory in a war humanity had never wanted, but had spent decades preparing to win. Across the galaxy, other civilizations watched and reassessed everything they thought they knew about the inhabitants of the small blue planet. Humanity had held back, hoping for peace. Now the stars themselves bore witness to what happened when that restraint was finally lifted, not in vengeful destruction, but in the measured, calculated demonstration of a species determined to survive without sacrificing its soul. The message was clear to all who observed. Earth had warned the galaxy once. It would not need to warn them again.